Hi guys, Alan Mickey here. Today we are going to start with JavaScript. We are going to start learning what JavaScript is, what JavaScript is used for, how to write your first program in JavaScript, and how to declare variables and use them in JavaScript. Now, what is JavaScript? JavaScript is a high-level, dynamic, and interpreted programming language. It primarily used for client-side scripting on the web, allowing developers to create interactive web pages, web applications, and mobile applications. JavaScript is often used for web development, mobile and desktop development, game development, and server-side programming. JavaScript is known for its versatility, flexibility, and widespread adoption, making it one of the most popular programming languages in the world. Now in this section, we are going to go more deep into the areas in which JavaScript is being used and how it's being used in that area. Now, for example, web page interactivity. JavaScript adds dynamic effects to web pages, responding to user interaction like click, hover, and form submission. Dynamic content. JavaScript updates web pages content dynamically without requiring a full page preload. Now let's see how it's being used on mobile and desktop applications. On mobile, we have things like React Native. JavaScript is used to build cross-platform mobile application using React Native. On desktop, it uses Electron. Electron is a cross-platform desktop application development framework of JavaScript. Now on the other side, server-side programming, we have Node.js. Node.js is like a server-side JavaScript. Node.js is JavaScript with some additional functionality to make it work on the desktop, like work on your system, like on the hardware directly, because JavaScript was primarily built to work on the web. So we have Node.js and Express for web development and API development and so on. For game development, we have things like Fuzzer, a popular JavaScript framework for building HTML5 games. And we also have Play Canva, a cloud-based game engine using JavaScript. For data analysis and visualization, we have D3.js, a popular JavaScript library for data visualization. And we also have Chart.js, a lightweight JavaScript library for creating charts. For machine learning machine learning and AI, we have TensorFlow.js. If in the future, if you go more deep into machine learning, you'll hear about TensorFlow, especially in Python. So JavaScript kind of have a library that's TensorFlow based. We have Brain.js, a JavaScript library for natural network stuff. And for IoT development, we have Node.js. JavaScript is used for IoT development, creating applications for Raspberry Pi, Arduino, and other microcontrollers. Alright, in this section, we are going to jump in and see how we can write our first JavaScript program. But before you think of writing a program or doing anything coding, you have to first figure out which text editor or IDE you're going to be using. So in this session, we are going to be using VS Code or Visual Studio Code. That's what I use, and that's what most developers use these days, and it's the most popular text editor right now and open source for developers. That's what we are going to be using, and it's clear and user friendly. So yeah, if you don't have Visual Studio downloaded and installed, you can go to your browser and just type VS Code, and it will take you. The first link should be a link to the website, the official website, where they'll show you how to download it on your operating system. So let's jump into it and see how it goes. So here I have Visual Studio Code. I'm gonna open it. Alright, here we go. We have our Visual Studio Code open. So what you see here, this is how Visual Studio Code looks like when you open it for the first time. But on your own, if it's the first time, you might not see this recent project stuffs and even some of these stuffs here. With that said, this is how Visual Studio Code looks like. I'll be doing a more in-depth video on Visual Studio Code, but right now just follow what I'm doing. So to open a project, you can click on the open. To open a file, click on open. To create a file, you can click on new file. All those things here, all these things here, you can actually do them on this file menu up here. So you have new file, new window, open file, open folder, and so on. What we'll be doing here is we are going to go with open folder, so that we create a folder where we are going to be working in. So I'm going to direct that to my desktop. On my desktop, I'm going to create a new folder here that will be storing all those things inside. So I'm just going to say JS class, like so. After doing that, I will select it and it should open this window like this. Yes, I trust it. So we have this window here that just still closely the same to what we saw before. This is the Explorer menu where your files and other stuffs will appear, and I'm just going to close this like this. Now let's see how you can create your first JS file, that JavaScript file, because in order to write JavaScript code you have to create a JavaScript file. So how to create file in VS Code? All you do is click on this icon here, and you have this here. You just type I'm just gonna call it first.js. All JavaScript files end with .js. That's a file extension for JavaScript files, and I'll hit enter like that. Now this is the editor section. This is where you write your code. This is where you do all the typing and so on. So what I'm going to do here, our first program in JS is just going to be a single line program, which I'm going to say console.log like that, and just do hello world. That's your first program in JavaScript. That's how simple it is. After doing that, you can just press Ctrl S to save it. Okay, so this is how you write your first program in JavaScript. How do we run it? If I click on this play button here, you see that I say, hey, node is not recognized as an internal or external command. With your own, you're not going to see that, because you might even say node is not installed. That's because on my system I've installed Node.js, but that's not how we're going to do it. In order to work with JavaScript, we will need to create an HTML file. Hopefully by now you should already know what HTML is. So I'm going to create let me just call it home.html like this. After I create an HTML file, I'm going to generate a boilerplate here like this. You should already know this if you already know HTML, but if you don't know it, comment down in the comment section. So I will be making videos on HTML. So I'm just going to call this home, and in order for us to start using that JavaScript file, what we need to do is link the JavaScript into a HTML. Actually, there are many ways you can link JavaScript to HTML or use JavaScript inside HTML, but what we are going to do is using JavaScript externally. Now I might say many ways, and I'm using the word externally, it might sound confusing. Now there are 2 ways or 3 different ways of using JavaScript in your HTML files. Since at the beginning I said JavaScript is a programming language used on the client side to add interactivity to web pages, right? So that's how JavaScript is being used. For now, that's how we are going to be learning JavaScript. So what we are doing here is using JavaScript externally. That's why I'm creating the JS file. But let me first show you how you can use it embeddedly, which I will just type script like this here. Now let me type the same thing I did on that file, like console.log, like so. Now I'm going to type okay, hello world, like this. Now how do we see the result? In order to see the result of what we just did is we need to open this HTML file inside our browser so we can actually see what we are doing. So I'll double click on this. By default it's going to use Microsoft Edge because that's the default browser of my system. So if you look at the screen, you'll see nothing. If you are already familiar with HTML, all you see here is home, which is the title that we set up here. But now we are interested in the JavaScript part. How do we see the result of our JavaScript? What you do is you right click on the screen, go straight to inspect. Okay, on the inspect panel, if you look very well, you'll see the line that we just typed inside our HTML file. But that's not what we want to see right now. But all these things here are just the HTML code we just typed. So what we want to see is the result. So you have to move to the console. This is what you see, hello world. Now you might be like, how is that what we really type? Yes, let me place the screen side to side like so that we'll see everything as I do it instantly. So yeah, I'm going to say hello world with some exclamation marks here, and to see the result here I will just refresh and you see hello world with the exclamation marks to show you that that is what we typed. Now that's the first way. I said there are two ways, right? Or two or three ways. Now let's see the external way of adding JavaScript to your website or web pages. Now I'm gonna type script again. I'm still gonna be using script, but this time I'm adding source, like script source. And in order to add that JavaScript file there, I'm going to dot slash and test.js. That's just what I need to do there right now. And if I refresh now, you'll see that we'll be having hello world with exclamation marks and also hello world coming from the file. So if you look here on this console side, you'll see that we have hello world with exclamation marks and it says it's coming from home.html, and we have hello world. This one is coming from first.js. So clearly showing that that's coming from here. Now let me do another console.log, like so. And this time around I'm not gonna say hello world, I'm gonna say my first program with JS. Okay, let me just say JavaScript technically with JavaScript. You might be seeing some autocomplete stuffs on my screen that much because I have extensions installed here, but that's not what we're focusing on right now. So now if I refresh this again, now we see that we have my first program with JavaScript. Now what's console log? Console log is a kind of a function that outputs whatsoever you pass inside to the console. So what is the console? A console is the browser console, because right now we are using JavaScript as a client, adding interactiveness to the page. But what we are doing is just outputting some stuff. That's how you see your first stuff to JavaScript. Now let me show you guys something. If you want to really see something on the screen, like on your browser screen, like here, what you do is type alert, and this alert, we are just going to put hello world inside. If I refresh, you see hello world pop up here. So this page says hello world. So that's it. If you look here, there's no hello world below my first program with JavaScript. So that's how we do it. That's your first program with JavaScript. And don't forget to keep up to date. Let's move on to how to declare variables in JavaScript. Alright, So declaring variables in JavaScript is very simple. Or if you ever tested JavaScript before and you're like, oh, this is confusing, don't worry. I'm here with you. I'm gonna take you step by step and show you how everything is being done. So stick through and don't just watch, practice as you learn. Don't just watch. That's not how you learn programming. In order to be good at programming, you have to practice along. Watching this is like just watching your favorite movie, and the next minute someone asks you what happened at the 30th minute of the movie. You're like, I don't really know. So in order to keep up to date with this, I want you to practice along and see in the next slide where we welcome back. Now in this section, let's start with variables. Let's start to see how we can declare and use variables in JavaScript. Now, if it is your first time in programming, you'll be like, oh, what's a variable? Alright, clear and simple. A variable is like a visual container that you store values or content. For example, let's say you have a bottle of water. That bottle is like the variable, while the water inside is actually the value you are storing to the variable. Now let's see example of a variable here. What I will do, I will just highlight everything on the screen using Control S and Control A, and I'll be doing Control / to comment everything on the screen. Now that's a comment. We'll talk about comments a little bit later. So right now, what you want to do here is variables. So I'll start with a keyword var, sample variables. I think so. And I will say first name. Yeah. Go first name. I want capital letters. Name. And I'm going to assign it to John. I'm going to say first name is equals John. How do you see the value of John? Or let's go again with second name equals Doe, which will give us John Doe if it's the full name. But right now, how do we actually see the values stored in there? So what I will do is I'm going to do console.log, and I'm going to log the first name like so. So we have the first name here. Now, if you see the previous on the previous slide, this is where we ended. Right now, if I'm to refresh this, all we're going to see there is John and hello world. Now here we don't have any log, not any console log that is hello world. That hello world is coming from here. So what I'm going to do is comment it out like so. That's not how we comment JavaScript. So I'm going to give it / it's like this. That's a comment. Now if I refresh this, all we are going to see here is John. How do we actually give things like John Doe? Okay, you might say, okay, let's give another console log and say last name. And if I should refresh this, it should give us John Doe. That's now let me explain what's going on. First name is a variable, last name is also a variable. John is a value to first name. Doe here is a value to last name. So like the example I said of you having a bottle of water, right? You having a bottle of water. The bottle itself is actually the variable container, and the water inside is actually the value that the bottle holds. Okay, so anytime you want to get that water, you have to get that bottle, then open it, then sip the water. You want to actually use the water. So that's the same thing we are doing here with variables. In order for us to like get to see what is inside the variable, we actually reference to the variable by just passing it into console log, and the output will be the value inside that variable. I hope I'm making myself clear. If you have any doubts, just keep a comment and I'll get to it. Now, in JavaScript, this is not just the only way we declare variables. There are 3 different ways of declaring variables in JavaScript. We have var, let, and const. Yeah, we have var, let, const. Now this is the older way of doing stuff. That doesn't mean they don't use it now. We're still using it. We have now it's called let me just say price is equals to 2,000, like that. Let's say we have price of 2,000, and if you must have noticed something on the screen, you'll notice that all the variables, the ending here ends with semicolon. At first with JavaScript it was mandatory, but right now it's not mandatory. If I remove it, no error. It won't give me any error. Some developers are still okay keeping the semicolon there, and right now I don't care about the semicolon because modern JavaScript doesn't care about the semicolon stuff. Now if I want to see the value of price, what we need to do again is just log price. Okay, you have to say console log price, not just log, console log price, like so. So now if I'm to run this, we should see the price down here. You get? We should see the price down here. That's the second way of declaring variables in JavaScript. Now the third way is const. Const stands for constant. You get? Const stands for constant. So I'm going to use the const of h equals to 30, like that. In order for us to see it down here, I think we should log h, like so. Now if I'm to refresh this, we should see h of 30 down here. That's how you declare variables in JavaScript, and this is how you use them. And let me just say the basic way of using it. And we saw two ways of seeing output in JavaScript. The first one was console.log, and the second one was alert. Same way, if you want to see these things in an alert, you just do alert and pass whatsoever you want to pass inside. Not only this, nope, we can actually pass a variable inside. Let me just go with price, like so, and we see here 2,000. That's how we do it, and that's how it's been done. See you in the next video where we'll continue with this session of JavaScript. Please don't forget to keep in touch so that you'll be updated about everything going on in this section. And if you like the way I teach, please keep a comment, and if you don't like it, still keep a comment so that I might improve. And thank you.